Alright guys, so in this video I'm going to be showing you guys how I built the lead generation and appointment setting bot for my own agency, and I'm going to be showing you guys how I integrated the Stack AI function to answer questions, how I integrated MailChimp and Google Sheets using Maker in order to automate all the details that I put into the chatbot, both into a Google spreadsheet and into MailChimp with tags that allows the audience to be segmented, meaning that you can automate your email marketing off the back of implementing a chatbot just like this into your own organization or into the organization for your clients. Now, without further ado, let's just take you through a quick demo of my bot, and then I'll walk you through the backend in Voiceflow, and then I'll walk you through the backend in Stack AI, and from there we can I'll show you the Maker automations. So the first thing it's going to ask is, do you currently run a business that you're looking to integrate AI into? And here it's going to say your business may be eligible for no-cost AI prototype development. Now, for this no-cost prototype development, the minimum income for that business has to be between 5 and 10K, basically because, if you don't have at least that much, it's not likely you're going to be able to afford our services. So we're not going to want to provide that for free. So do you currently run a business that you're looking to integrate AI into? Yes. What's the nature of your business? E-commerce, marketing agency, info product, real estate, etc. Actually, before we continue this, let me just make sure that this maker is running. Yeah, sure. Cool. So let's just go with e-commerce. Great. And let's just say we're making 20 to 30,000 a month. And what would be the most impactful way AI can improve your business? Now you can give one of these answers, or you can click I'm looking for something else, and then you can enter something else. But in this situation, you're most likely going to want customer service if you're in the e-commerce area looking for AI. And then this is where it connects to Stack AI to give a bit of advice on how Scale My Biz can help this specific business. And as you can see here, it returns Scale My Biz can help e-commerce businesses enhance their customer service by developing personalized AI chatbots. These chatbots can provide instant support, streamline sales processes, and enhance customer satisfaction. They can revolutionize customer interactions, providing a more efficient and effective customer service experience. Sounds good, right? Does this sound like a solution that would help your business? Absolutely. Who wouldn't want that? Good news, you qualify for a free prototype. Why? Because in the qualifying question, which was how much revenue are you making, we have enough revenue for us to provide a free prototype. Now, can I get your full name? Let's just go with TJ Kanye. And can I get an email address to contact you on? tjkanye98@gmail.com. One of my throwaway email addresses. And finally, can I get a website link for your business? Let's just go with, shopify.com. Great. Great, let's get a date booked in. Click here to schedule a meeting at a time that works for you. Now, if you click here, you'll go straight to the booking form for the consultation/demo. Don't know why it's taking a while, but yeah, it'll take you to the booking page. You just select here, see exactly how we can help you. Click one of these dates. You all know what Calendly links look like. Do you have any other queries? Now, if we click yes, it will connect back to Stack AI and it will answer any other queries you have about Scale My Biz. But for this instance, we've already got a link booking in. We don't have any other questions we want to ask. But actually, let's just click yes, right? And let's see, what kind of implementations do you guys provide? And let's just ask that, and let's see if it will come up. I'm hoping there's not an error in the back end, but we'll see. Alright, seems to work. There we go. At Scale My Biz, we provide a range of AI implementations. These include personalized chatbots to revolutionize customer interactions, custom web and mobile apps to enhance user experiences, and business process automation to optimize your processes. We focus on providing solutions that are tailored to your unique business needs and goals, which is all absolutely true. Does this answer your question? Yes. Do you have any other queries? No. Great. That's where the flow is going to end. I should probably put a goodbye message there. But you understand, as soon as you've gone through this process, you can ask as many questions as you want. It will give you details on the business, what we do, how we help you. And if everything went according to plan, if we open up this lead gen here, there we go. Fantastic. We get the e-commerce stuff all in there. Fantastic. Cool. As you can see, shopify.com, 20 to 30k a month, customer service, e-commerce, that's the email. And also, if we go into MailChimp, if I refresh this page, I think I've actually duplicated one of the emails, so I'm not sure if we'll actually add it in again, but we're about to see. We should have 4 subscribers, but it's probably going to give us 3 because it's, yeah, I thought so. So it will also put in subscribers into here. But the problem is, as you can see in this lead gen here, I've actually used the same email twice. So it's not going to upload it into MailChimp. But if we go into Make, we can see that, here we go. This person is already a list member. So if we just run this one more time, and let's just run through it very, very quickly and give us a different email so you can at least see the output on the MailChimp side. Yes, we have a business. Let's just say marketing agency. Actually, you get the chance to see a different type of output from the chatbot with this as well. So we're making over 30,000 a month, and we're looking for lead generation and automation. Now it's going to give us a quick excerpt of how we can help. Okay, there we go. With we can help with lead generation and automation by developing personalized AI solutions. These solutions can optimize processes, streamline sales, and provide instant support to customers. AI-driven automation can minimize errors, free up resources, and allow you to focus on strategic initiatives for improved productivity and efficiency. For more specific strategies, I would recommend booking a consultation meeting with our team. Perfect. Does this work? Or does this sound like it will help your business? Yes, of course. Good news, you qualify for a free prototype. Let's get you in. Okay, so I'm just going to put the same details for the name, and then for the email, instead of TJ Kenyeri, I'm just going to put tkenyeri98@gmail.com. Cool. And can I get a link? Let's just go with, I don't know, marketing.com. Great, let's get a date booked in. Click that. Do you have any other queries? No. And again, it should say glad I could help or something. But if we click here, now we can see it's updating that. This has been done. That's been added. As you can see here, we've got the marketing agency and lead generation. And then we're just waiting for that to be updated. Yep, it's done now. He's added that subscriber. And if we refresh this page, now we should be able to see a new subscriber with a tag that says, there we go, it's gone up to 4, fantastic. And now we can see marketing agency now has its own tag, and we can target them with a specific campaign based on the tags that they put in, which is the type of business they have. Perfect. And if you have a specific niche or group of niches you're selecting, you can actually make them into buttons so that, you know, in the way that it's set up now, if somebody types in something slightly different, but it's in the same niche, I would actually have to manually put them together in order to send a targeted campaign. But if you put them in as buttons, so let's say, for example, you target, info products and e-commerce specifically, you can put those 2 buttons into Voiceflow, and then every time somebody responds with a specific answer, you get the same tag every time, and everything will be nice and neat for your automations. But this is just for the purpose of demonstration. I don't use MailChimp. I use Klaviyo. This is just for demonstration purposes. Great. So now we're going to move on to how exactly I built this, both in Voiceflow and in Stack AI and Make. I'm going to be showing you guys how I produce the APIs, the API calls, how I produce the automations in Make, and also how I connected Stack and Voiceflow, which you probably would have already seen in my last video if you tuned in. So in Scale My Biz Bot, this is the workflow in general. So it looks extremely complicated and it's not exactly the simplest bot, but let me just point this out, right? This section here is essentially the exact same as this section here. The only difference is, if we zoom in here, where it says what is your monthly recurring revenue, when you go up on this path here, it does not tell you that you qualify for a free prototype. In fact, it tells you that you don't qualify for a free prototype, but what we can do is provide a consultation whereby we can see any other low cost and low hanging fruit in terms of improving your business efficiency and potentially your sales. So that is the idea there. I can make this a little bit more neat by putting that into its own component rather than repeating it and essentially copying and pasting what's down here. But this is what I've got. It works. I'm not complaining. So let's find a way all the way back to the beginning of the block. And I just showed you guys that just for context, because I'm not going to be going over both of them because they're essentially repeated. So like I said here, you can go in here, click, in your first block, you just get the text here, talk text to drop that in here. And then you can type in, whatever it is you want to type in, hey, welcome to Scale My Biz. I'm here to help you understand how AI can help you scale your business. And if you want different variants of this, you can generate a few variants using AI inside Voiceflow. And it'll give you a bunch of different ones here. So let's say I don't really like this one, but I like these three. Great. Now I've got three different bits of text that will change depending on who's interacting with the bot. And here, the same thing, you've got a few different generations made by AI. Your business may qualify for free AI development, and that kind of gets people to want to go through the flow to see, okay, do I qualify? They go through it, and then they can see whether or not they do. Then the next question is, do you currently run a business that you're looking to integrate AI into? If the answer is no, then immediately it stops the flow and it says we currently only work with businesses that are looking to integrate AI. However, if you're looking to start an AI business, feel free to contact us at tj@scalemybiz.ai, which is my personal email address or my business email address. And then they can, if you are interested but you just don't have anything started, you can just message me straight away. And if the answer is yes, and just to show you guys where you can get this this logic, you can essentially go here into listen. Now listen is what allows you to allows the user of the chatbot to put in their their responses. So you can put in capture, which allows them to respond with text, as you can see here. This allows them to capture text, and then there we go, as you can see here. And then this one is a button, so if we click here, you'll see there's a button, and then it allows them to either click yes or no, and depending on their answer, it goes into a different node in the workflow. Now, as I showed you before, this is going to capture a text response from the user. And typically, what I would recommend, because of the way that we're putting this into a marketing campaign and we want to segment them, if you have a niche you're already targeting, you want to make sure that these are buttons, because buttons are uniform and they're not going to change with little things such as a capital letter here, or if somebody puts e-commerce without the dash, it will change how it's put into MailChimp and other CRMs as far as segmentation is concerned. So I would make sure that if you know that you have 2 or 3 people that you target, add them as buttons rather than an entire user reply. But for my purpose, because I don't use I don't use a CRM or MailChimp or email marketing, it's just fine. So the next step from here, after asking what's the nature of your business, you then go into what's your monthly recurring revenue. Then just in case you don't already know, this is how you create a node. You just click here, and then you click on what question you want it to come up with next. And obviously for here, it's going to be what's your current MRR. And from here, again, these are buttons that I've attached. So the 0 to 5K a month, 5 to 10K a month, 10 to 20K a month, and 20 to 30K a month. Now what I've done here is for each individual button, I've attached a variable, which is called a set, or setting a variable. So if you go to Logic and click Set, what you're able to do is you can apply you can create a new variable, set it to a particular value, and in the way that I've done it with the buttons, how you do it is you click the button, you click on Actions, and then you click on Set Variable, and as you can see here, I have set this specific variable to be set to less than 5K per month. And then this is really important because this is going to it's going to be pushed into the CRM, the Google Sheets, and 2 for the other answers such as business type, because I also set a response for business type, which I think I didn't show you guys here. It'll automatically be set to last utterance, which is what you'll find down here. But you can create a new variable, type in business type for this response, and then now every time somebody types something in there, as long as I'm pulling that variable, every time it's going to push that out under the same name, the same variable, and it makes everything very uniform. So now that you know how to set the different variables for the different buttons, this allows you to then collect all that information for that one customer along the entire workflow, and then all that stuff is automated as far as 1, making the API call to Stack AI, which I will get to in a moment, and 2, getting all those details into the lead generation form. So after you've done that, from the variable being set, as I told you before, 0 to 5K a month pulls you down the other path where you do not qualify for the free prototype, and the other 4 allow you to qualify for the prototype. And then the next question will be, what would be the most impactful way AI can improve your business? Now, these are the typical things that people ask for. However, I also left space for somebody to type something if they want something else. So I've put in the options for lead generation / automation, sales, customer service, business admin / process automation, and general virtual assistants, or I'm looking for something else. If they click I'm looking for something else, then please, it will tell you, please describe the kind of solution you're looking for. You can then put this into here, and then it will set, similarly to the way the business revenue was set. It's also going to set a variable called business need, and I'll show you why this is extremely important in terms of warming up the lead and giving them useful information in just a moment. It's actually going to be in the next node. So if you click customer service, it sets the business need to customer service. If it clicks business admin, it sets the business need to business admin process automation. And as you can see, that's all lined up over on the right side. Fantastic. Now, the reason this is all very important is because of this API call. Now, what happens is, whenever, as you saw before, when somebody says, hey, this is the business, this is what I'm looking for, it automatically gives you details on how we can help you. The way it does that is because it takes the business type and the business need, puts it together, and creates a query that says, this is the business type, this is the business need, how can Scale My Biz help this specific person? It creates that query, sends it off to Stack AI, it uses my website as the knowledge base, and then answers that query, and then produces it inside of the Voiceflow workflow. Sounds good. I'm going to show you guys exactly how I do this. And this is going to be done by opening up Dev API. So if you just open this up, great. Now we're going to change the method to post, because that is the method that we use for Stack AI. I'm just going to open this up. Okay, it's going to mess around a little bit. Let's refresh that. Okay, don't know why it's doing this. Sometimes, by the way, if you do use Stack AI, sometimes it does just not load the dashboard and you have to just refresh the page and then open it again. But it should be working now. Great. So I've created the basically this is a string document. I copied and pasted all the text inside my website, put it into the string document because it's just really fast at pulling that data rather than using the web scraper. It works just fine. However, it's just lightning fast, which is for the purpose of this demo. That's what I wanted. And so here you can see that I've put in the string document, which can be found in the data loaders over here. Let me just make my screen a little bit smaller so you guys can see a little bit more of this detail. Great. So here you'll find all sorts of data loaders. You've got YouTube, Slack, Pinecone, which is a vector database, Airtable, Google searches, URLs, strings, documents, the whole lot, right? And then you've got offline data loaders, which are just things like, you know, using Google Drive, Notion, data plus search, I think is APIs, URLs, documents and search, all of that. And some of the ones that say plus search, by the way, don't reference a vector store. They'll just be directly into the large language model, which I think is slightly less effective, which is why I don't use them, but to each their own. And so I connect that to the vector store, which can be found here. And if you don't know what a vector store is, it's effectively a type of database that pulls a bunch of documents, stores them semantically, and by that I mean it stores them according to what is written inside them. So let's say, for example, if I was to talk about you know, what kind of, you know, pie I'm looking for in the recipe for a pie in an entire cookbook, rather than looking over the entire cookbook, it's going to go to the pie section and then find the pie recipe, rather than using all that bandwidth to go through every single document until it finds the right recipe. That's just a quick, you know, example as to how vector stores work. Hopefully that's useful to you. So ultimately you just connect this node here to this node there. Very simple stuff. This is the input that the user is going to be using. So let me just zoom in a little bit so you guys can see. So this is the input that the user will be generating. And then from there, you want to connect the input query to the vector store. And then you want to connect the input query to the large language model also. And then as you can see here, you also want to put the node where it says to LLM over to large language models as well. And the next thing you want to set up is the actual large language model itself. Now, if you go over here, you can see the settings that I've put for my language model. I'm using GPT-4, which is slightly expensive. Most people suggest GPT 3.5 Turbo 16K, which is what you can see right here. But I like GPT-4. And all you need to do is go to OpenAI, select your API key, get that thing copied and pasted into here. Select your temperature, which is just how varied the responses are. I like to have them a tiny bit varied, but not too much, so I put in 0.2. You can add memory to the chatbot as well, but for this purpose, it's not necessary. But if you do, typically you set the memory to sliding window, and then, you know, you can choose your window size, which is basically how much of the history that it will remember at any given point. But like I said, I don't need memory. I'm not going to be using it. And finally, the system prompt. Now, this is going to be one of the biggest determinators of how good your large language model is at producing outputs. So in here, I put, you are the best assistant and information provider. Your name is James and you work for Scale My Biz AI. Keep your answers between 1 and 4 sentences long at most. The business is an AI development agency. Never refer to your knowledge base. Never answer any questions you don't know the answer to. Instead, suggest they book a consultation meeting. And then down here, we've got the prompt, which basically tells it how it's supposed to take in these different inputs. So for the context, which is basically the brain of the AI, you're going to put vec-0 because as you can see here, that is the name of this vector store, which is where all that data is going to be referencing to produce an answer is coming from. And then the question is going to be in -0 because that's where the user is going to be actually providing the query to run through the large language model. And then of course it produces an answer, which is going to be what you see over here. Now, I don't need to run this again because you've seen how it works in the demonstration I showed in the beginning. However, I will show you exactly how to export this into your own Voiceflow workflow. Now I'm going to click publish. And another point to note is Stack is a minimum of $200 a month if you want these data loaders, or you can pay $900 a month, which will give you access to way more API calls, as well as more bots that you can create. It's not on the cheap side compared to something like Voiceflow, which is $40 a month, and it does have its own data loaders and its own knowledge base. However, I believe that Stack is just top tier when it comes to the responses. But if you simply cannot afford it, Voiceflow is more than good enough. But if you can afford it, I would suggest using a combination of both Stack and Voiceflow. So now let's export this. And let's go to API endpoint. Now this is really, really important, guys. You want to make sure that you get this API URL. Actually, let's go to JavaScript. You want to make sure that you get this API URL. And then you want to, so let me just put these two screens together rather than separating them. Cool. And then you want to go over here and you want to copy and paste that into here. Whoop, wrong one. So you want to copy and paste that into here. So there you go, you've got your API URL. And then you got your headers, which is going to be, the first one is going to be authorization. So let's just copy that over. That's going to be authorization. And then you're going to have your API key or your token, which you're going to copy and paste into here. Now, bear in mind, mine has a bunch of X's because it is covered. But if you click show token, that's when you then copy the token that's then revealed. Obviously, I'm not going to show you my API token. And then you copy that in there. So make sure yours does not have a bunch of X's. Show your token and then put it in. And then I'm going to add another header, which is going to be applicate or content type. And as you can see here, content dash type. And that is going to be application / JSON. So I don't really know what any of this stuff means per se, but I just know it works. So, you know, just do it, okay? And then from here, we want to capture a response. So if you remember, the output has actually no, before we capture the response, we want to get the input. So remember when I told you guys that we've got the inputs and the outputs from the variables that we set prior. This is where it gets really important because essentially you want to put in some really, really basic code, which is basically a dictionary. And what you want to do is you want to map over what Stack AI sees as the input, which is going to be in -0 if you remember from Stack AI. And if you don't, let's just go back over here and just show you guys exactly why I'm doing this the way that I'm doing it. So this is basically mimicking this input here in -0. Let's just zoom in. And so from the Voiceflow side, the way that this is going to be structured. So if we just click here, cool. What we're going to do is we're going to map over the kind of input that we're going to be getting from Voiceflow, making sure it understands it as the input, and then we produce the output, which is where we capture the response. So in -0 is equal to, or is mapped over to, how can we help, how can you help? And then we're going to put in the variable business type. How can you help business type achieve or improve and then we're going to put in the variable business need. So what this is going to do is anytime that this specific API call is made on this on this node in the workflow, it's going to make that call to Stack AI, and then it's going to replace business type with the business type that the person put in earlier in the workflow, and business need with the business need that they selected or typed out in the workflow, meaning that when it pushes through to Stack AI, it tells you, it will then say, okay, I'm going to scale my business web page. How does it help? Okay, connect these two together, send back the answer to Voiceflow, and then from there, you get your output. And this is how you get the output. Like I showed you over here, the output here is out-0, and we can see that very clearly here, out-0, and we want this to be mapped over to API response, but I'm going to show you how to create a new variable. So if we go out-0, this is the code that's going to be attached to the response from Stack AI, and we want to save this as a variable. So if we create a new variable, we can create the variable name API response 2, just to show you guys how it's done. You can create that variable, and now anytime we get that response, it produces the variable API response 2. Those two things are now saved, and then I'm going to cancel all of this, by the way, because again, this is not going to work because I haven't put my API key and whatnot. So I'm going to delete this now that I've showed you guys how it's done. But from here, what's going to happen is you then print the API response. Like I said, all you need to do is go to talk, which basically provide the text, and then add in the variable API response, which means just open a curly bracket, type in API response, close the curly bracket. That's all you need to do, and that's going to capture the response and put it in as text from the chatbot in Voiceflow. Fantastic. Then the next thing you're going to do is the next part of this is, does this sound like a solution that would help your business? Yes, it goes over to good news, you qualify for a free prototype, and we go into the rest of the workflow. But if you click no, it says, that's a shame. Would you like to ask a specific question to see how we could potentially help you? If the answer is no, no problem, thank you for paying us a visit. And if the answer is yes, then what happens is you then capture the where is it? If the answer is yes, you then ask they then ask a question, and then from here, actually I'm gonna delete this one here because that's not how we're doing it. And then from here, it allows that last utterance, the last question they asked, to be pushed through the API call, and it's structured slightly differently. I'm not going to open it because it will expose my API key, but essentially it's just structured slightly differently in terms of, rather than having the other variables of business type and business need, it just straight up just gives you the last utterance, and then from there it produces the API response. So this question should most likely be a little bit more detailed, so it gives you a good answer. Then it goes to, does this answer your question? Yes, fantastic. Do you have any other questions? No, I'm glad I can help. And does this answer your question? No. Would you like to ask another one? Yes, go ahead and ask. And then it does that loop. So essentially you can ask as many questions as you like, so long as your question isn't getting answered, or you just have more and more questions. And if something does go wrong, if the API call fails, as you can see here, it will just tell you, hey, something went wrong. Sorry, essentially, hope to see you again soon. And I think the only thing that I can add to this is connecting it straight back to allowing people to book the meeting. So that's the only thing that's missing from here. But hopefully with everything that I've shown you guys so far, this would be just fine for building this for your own purposes. Now, we're going to move on to the make automations, which is what allows us to connect all of this to Google Sheets and MailChimp. Great. So if we go down the road of what we were saying before, so yeah, we've gone through the setting the business revenue, setting the business type, we've gone through the post, and then from here you get the API response. Does this sound like a solution that helps your business? Yes, this is where we were. Good news, you qualify for a free prototype. Let's get some of your details and book you in for a demo. So can I get your full name, please? Capture user reply to full name. Can I get an email address to contact you? And then you can capture the email. And finally, can I get a website link for your business? And then you can capture the reply. So these are all attaching variables to the outputs that you get. And then from here, what you're going to do is you're going to create a webhook inside of Make. And I'm going to show you guys exactly how to do that. So first thing you're going to do, you're going to go over to Make, and I'm going to create a fresh one just so that you guys can see how it's done from beginning to end. Cool. And I'm not going to make this one active because, again, I don't need to, but I'm going to show you guys how it's done. Okay, let's let this load for a second. Fantastic, cool. So you can do all of this for free inside Make. There's no issues. 1,000 operations a month, more than enough for most of your businesses. And if you have more than 1,000 operations a month, you can probably afford to spend more. Cool. So let's create a new scenario. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a webhook. So you go over here. You can make this from a template as well. You don't necessarily have to create a new scenario. But I'm just going to show you guys how it's done anyways. So here we go, webhook, nice. And we're going to go with what was it before? Let me just remind myself. Custom webhook, cool. So from here, you can create a webhook and it's going to generate you a link. There are no IP restrictions, great. And then you're just going to copy address to the clipboard. And then what you're going to do is go back over to your workflow and copy and paste this. So I can open this one up because there's no API key in there, it's just fine. And then you just want to copy and paste your webhook here. Now with this, you want to make sure you have in the parameters all the details that you want to take over from your chatbot over to wherever you want to get that data. So here we have name, which is attached as full name, which is the variable that I showed you guys before. And these are all the variables here, and you can create new variables like I showed you before. So again, name called full name, email, we've got his email, business type, which is business type, business need, which is business need, revenue, business revenue, and website, which is mapped over to platform. Great. So this is what you're going to have to fill in as far as, you know, the details that you want for your client or for your own chatbot. And then from there, you want to, so do I want to try this, make this one again? I just realized I actually have to activate this call. Okay, so from here you want to just make sure that you essentially test your data structure. So I'm going to do it with the one that I've already made. So let's redetermine the data structure, which basically puts you in the position that you were in the beginning. So from here, you want to go over to scalemibiz.bot. You want to click send request. This is just to make sure it works properly. So I'm just going to put in TJ and then TJ at tj.com. And then business type, let's say marketing agency. Now this is just to make sure that your webhook is active and working. And then business need, customer service. Yeah, just it doesn't really matter. Business revenue, let's just say 20 to 40k a month. Even though that is not one of the options. And then let's just go with marketingagency.com. Great. We're going to send that request. And you see when we get the code 200, that means everything worked A-OK. And if we go back to here, successfully determined, as you can see, it all works just fine. Now, The next thing you want to do if you want to get this all into Google Sheets is you then want to click on Google Sheets. Well, actually, you can click here on add an application, search for Google Sheets, it will pop up here, and then in Google Sheets, the first thing you want to do is it's going to ask you to sign up into Google Sheets, and then so it will create a separate link, and then from there it will actually, let me just do this live so you guys can see exactly how it works rather than just talking at you. Let me delete the module and put it in again. Cool. So here we're going to say we want to add a row to the bottom of the table. Cool. I want to put that right in between here. We don't need you. So here we're going to create a connection. Okay, so this is the connection we want, tj@scalемybiz.ai. You want to select your drive, which is my drive, and then from here you want to select a file. And my file is called SMB lead gen. So you're going to select the file, and you want to make sure that you already have your headers in your file, that in the sheet that you want to attach. So just make sure you've done that before this. We can actually click X off this. Yes, we can leave. And then from here you select sheet name, which is just going to be sheet 1. Table contains headers. Yes. And now you can see all the headers that I've already put in are mapped over into the values. So here we can select, because it pulls directly from the webhook, the name, which is going to be the name we've attached here, email, which is going to be the email the webhook collects, business type, which is going to be business type, business need, which is, like I said before, business need, revenue, which is going to be revenue, and then website, which is going to be the website. Okay, fantastic. All working just fine. And then we move over to MailChimp. So with MailChimp, you want to establish the connection, and the way you do this is you go over to MailChimp, you get your private key, and then that is what's going to allow you to connect MailChimp. I'm not going to do this here because that will expose my private key. Even though I don't use it, it's just, I'm not going to do that. And then similarly from the webhooks, it's going to pull the name. You can add other details like last name, birthday, groups, whatever, email address. And this is the cool part. You can add a tag for their business type, which means that every time somebody is added into the mailing list, as you can see here, they've got tags, and those tags allow you to target them directly. And you can even set up different automations inside MailChimp for different segments depending on the tag, and then from there you then essentially have just automated your lead generation. Not lead generation. You've essentially automated your email marketing. So that's basically it. And then from there, just to test this all out, it's going to refresh all that data. Great. You can schedule this so that it basically always is running so long as there's data that's being sent to it. So as soon as the webhook receives a trigger, all of this gets pulled through. And like I showed you already, it's going to automatically update over on this side. And yeah, I'm just trying to think, is there anything else that I can show you guys? I think I've probably covered all bases. Right. And I think the next stage, or the next video that I'm going to be showing you guys, is how exactly to build web chatbots for people in the from the influencer / info product niche or content creation niche, and how to monetize them so that you can give them away for free but still make money from making the chatbot itself. So that's going to be a slightly shorter video. This one has been more in depth to show you guys the complete end-to-end way that you make a lead generation and appointment setting chatbot. It's quite basic on the appointment setting side because it just basically gives you a link to the Calendly. But if you guys want it, I can show you guys how to actually get all those details as far as without having to get them to go through the Calendly, having all of that appointment setting process done inside the chatbot. Let me know if that's something you want done, and I'll do that in a future video. However, I hope this has been useful, and yeah, go and use this for your own business, go and use this for your own clients, and let's kill this AI agency niche. Let's get it.